Senator Whelan, you have 5 minutes.
Thanks very much, Cathaoirleach. And I too would like to welcome and commend Minister Hayes to the House. No better man on this issue. He has not only the capacity but the personal interest and grow for the topic, for the issue, and that's the kind of focus we require when it comes to such a challenge of this nature. And of course it would also be wrong, as other colleagues have done, not to regard the work of his predecessor, our much beloved colleague, Minister Shane McEntee, and the early intervention, the prompt intervention on his part, his officials and the department, which we're grateful for, and how that has been continued by Minister Hayes and his officials in an attempt to meet this challenge head on. As other colleagues have said on all sides, the ash tree, the ash plant, has an iconic position in Irish history, folklore, heritage, sport and our culture. Indeed, it always struck me as strange and bizarre that even prior to the problem of ash dieback, that we were importing such a volume of ash into the country, as it is so central to our national sport and our national games. I think it underscores and reminds us that where possible at all times we should endeavour, to try and to seek to establish a phrase that was popular in the 80s, like import substitution. That where possible, if we can do it ourselves, not to be relying on other countries to be importing certain products, certainly in the area of forestry and food. I think we should always, and it has an added advantage not only economically but ecologically and environmentally, Minister, cutting down on air miles and carbon footprint and bringing products in from all other parts of the world. And I always felt it was bizarre that we were importing ash in the first place. I think it's something that we should have been more alert to as a policy perspective down the decades, and not laying that on your door. Also, I'm very glad, Minister, the report and the statement you've made to the House today is as comprehensive and as thorough an account as we've had on any topic and any subject over the last 4 years. And I want to commend you and your officials on that. I'm often forced into the charge, maybe to wear an ash plant off a few lads if I thought it was necessary here. But fair play is good sport, and that's the case here. And I think we are on top of it, and we obviously aren't operating in isolation. And it's good to hear that the measures that are abroad, and hopefully there will be a breakthrough in developing a disease-resistant strain, so that we can re-establish our ash plantations, our ash forests, and do so with a vigour, as Senator Landy has said, in a robust way. We could get in behind that, perhaps supported through a policy platform and grant aid to restore the ash plantations and forests across the country. I'm also, on a sort of an aside, I defer to a man expert in these matters here in front of me, my colleague Senator Comiskey, who tells me that if you can see out through the branches of an ash tree with the leaves not yet fully filled in on them, it's still time enough to sow the potatoes. So I was heartened by that at the weekend, and I went and checked, and I managed to get a few spuds in and didn't feel too bad about it, that the ash tree still hadn't come into full blossom and full bloom with the leaves and that, as has been referenced by my colleague Senator Landy. Also, Minister, and I want to assure you, this is not an attempt to... I'm glad that Senator Fergal Quinn has broadened the debate as well to deal with the issue of biodiversity, the habitat, and the other connections within our forestry and within our balance of nature, that delicate balance. That I think that's an important issue. This is not just about ash trees, but the implications for so many other species of flora and fauna, and the delicate balance that prescribes. And in the spirit of that, Minister, I just want to ask you to take the opportunity here today. If I raised it, I don't want to be dragging you back in here for a commencement debate, and if I raised it with the Leader of the House, he'll say the Minister for Forestry will be in here in an hour, take it up with him. So I'm just going to use that opportunity, Minister, just to ask you a question that I don't necessarily expect a comprehensive answer to today, but it's in relation to the management of our forests and the whole question of access to our forests and the amenity that our forestry provides us, not just in relation to the ash plantations, but the broader issue. And it's particularly in relation to alarm. I'm not short of consternation, Minister, in my own community down in Portarlington, where Quilta have put up for sale a woodland, Rathleash Wood, Tirhoger Wood, near Killinard. And, Minister, the consultation amounted to someone going around to the doors of the houses of the people with a leaflet saying, "We're putting the forest up for sale." Now, Minister, I don't think you would agree with me. I'd say that that does not amount to meaningful consultation. This is an ancient wood with many of the trees between 50 and 80 years. And the thoughts that these beech and sycamore trees would end up going up in smoke as firewood is abhorrent, particularly in the context of the debate we're having here, Minister, about trying to salvage our forestry and our ash plantations and our ash trees and the value they have. I accept that we must manage our forestry and that many of them are commercial plantations sown for the purpose of harvesting. But in this case, Minister, this is a natural amenity. It's a nature reserve. It's home to the red squirrel and to over 30 species of birds, and not to mention the flora of our wild garlic and bluebells that carpet the forest floor this time of year. So what I'm asking, Minister, is that I don't think it's the correct protocol, Minister, or the correct procedure that Quilty, on behalf of the state and on your behalf to represent the citizen, Minister, that they can just unilaterally put a piece of woodland and forestry up for sale by private treaty, and we don't even know who's going to buy it or for what purpose they intend to buy it. Surely that is not accountable or a transparent process that we require. Plus, where possible, we should always want to work in tandem and in cooperation with communities to vest such a reserve, perhaps by a long-term lease with the community, Minister, where they could work to become custodians of this reserve, to preserve it and to ensure public access and to ensure that it's preserved and retained as an amenity for the community. So that's in relation to the specific issue of Rathleash Wood near Portarlington in County Laois. But I think, Minister, there's a broader policy issue at stake here, that someone can buy state forestry without us knowing who they are or what their intentions are to do with it, and that the only consultation that is embarked upon is a leaflet through your letterbox telling you it's going for sale. So, Minister, I don't want to be unfair to you today or expect an immediate response in relation to that, but I do think there is a policy issue and a protocol that needs to be addressed here, not just in relation to the Portarlington woodland, but across the country. Thank you.